Benvingudes i benvinguts a la Biblioteca Xavier Amorós, en el que ara mateix és aquest mes, que és aquest març marçot, que aprofitem per parlar de poesia sobretot, i per tant aprofitem tot el mes per això, per tornar-nos més poètics, però teníem l'oportunitat de tenir a l'autor de Contra liberalismo simbólico o Contra liberalisme simbòlic, que diem en castellà perquè ara mateix la sort és que com a mínim el tenim traduït en castellà. Per tant, la possibilitat de tenir en Sari Hanafi aquí, que ara mateix el veiem a Reus, a Barcelona, i fa molt poc va estar a Granada també, aprofitant l'avinentesa, però una oportunitat molt interessant. En moments en què les dretes més populistes s'apropien de conceptes com la llibertat o que al final aquest perill no és tan eteri com real, doncs precisament el que ens proposa en Sari és, diguem-ne, una reinterpretació, una interpretació del liberalisme a dia d'avui, en el que ell explica el liberalisme sociològic, en fa per tant una explicació, i per tant una mica també el que ens proposa és, d'acord, hi ha aquestes dretes especialment poc democràtiques que apropien alguns d'aquests conceptes, però de vegades també des de l'esquerra, amb polítiques com l'especial victimització o amb polítiques com la de la cancel·lació, doncs al final també estan fent un flac favor a les idees, diguem-ne, originals del liberalisme. Per tant, crec que, en qualsevol cas, jo ara, no res, jo soc jurista i regidor de Cultura, per tant, diria més disbarat si parlés massa, però que el que ens permet és això, és anar estirant un fil d'idees que ell ja ha anat desenvolupant en articles, i sabeu que és professor, suposo que ens farà una mica el perfil, que ell ja ha anat explicant en diferents espais, però que a més ara es converteix en un llibre que ha de ser molt interessant de llegir. Per tant, tenim la sort, la fortuna, i també gràcies a l'Arnau i gràcies a la Mar, de poder-lo tenir aquí i de poder-hi fer aquesta conversa. Ens parlaran en anglès, hem ideat, diguéssim, ens deien, una fórmula, anaven a fer la traducció simultània, perquè és així de bona aquesta xica, però ens han ideat la possibilitat de veure si ho podem tenir més o menys, diguem-ne, doblat. Per tant, esperem que funcioni i si no, escoltarem amb atenció els que entenguem l'anglès i els que no mirarem d'entendre-ho amb el cor i no tant amb les orelles. Però en tot cas, moltes gràcies per ser aquí i moltes gràcies.
Moltes gràcies.
Moltes gràcies, Dani Recasens, regidor de Cultura. Moltes gràcies també Cristina Garreta, directora de Biblioteques Reus, la Marta del Centre Cívic Llevant. Sap molt bé que organitzem aquests espais de diàleg i per tant ens fa moltíssima il·lusió avui que la Mar Joanpere, sociòloga i professora de la Universitat Rovira i Virgili, ens hagi portat aquesta autoritat, aquesta eminència, que és en Sari Hanafi, vingut del Líban, nascut en un camp de refugiats de Síria, de família palestina, i en aquests espais de diàleg, de conviccions i de religions que ens agrada oferir, en aquest món que, com molt bé en Dani explicava, sembla que hi hagi gent que tingui ganes de convertir, per exemple, el barri de Bona Vista de Tarragona en Torre Pacheco, hi ha gent que té ganes de no escoltar els altres, de no parlar amb aquella persona amb qui no està d'acord, tenir gent que ens parli de la lògica dialògica, valgui la redundància, faci un diàleg dialogal, un diàleg que escolta més que no parla, perquè avui en dia hi ha molta gent que té més ganes de parlar que d'escoltar, doncs és un privilegi i per tant tenim moltes ganes d'escoltar-lo com tots els que som aquí, per tant ja dono la paraula a Mar. Gràcies.
Molt bé, moltes gràcies. Molt bé, bona tarda, moltes gràcies. Moltes gràcies en primer lloc al regidor Recasens, regidor de Cultura i Política Lingüística, per acompanyar-nos aquesta tarda. Moltes gràcies també a l'Arnau Oliveres, codirector de l'associació UNESCO per al Diàleg Interreligiós. Gràcies també a la Cristina Garreta per obrir-nos les portes de la biblioteca i per oferir-se en tot el que hem pogut necessitar en aquest esdeveniment, i la veritat és que fa molt de goig tenir aquesta sala tan plena així, i a més ara coincideix que aquí hi ha una exposició sobre les dones de Palestina, que és que no podia estar més ben lligat a la celebració d'aquest acte. Per tant, moltes gràcies. I moltes gràcies a tots i totes que heu vingut aquesta tarda aquí. Com comentava el regidor, estem en aquest mes del març marçot, que a Reus hi ha un munt d'actes alhora i que tenim l'agenda molt plena. Per tant, un agraïment molt gran, perquè sé que ara hi ha altres actes que estan tenint lloc a la ciutat. Doncs moltes gràcies per ser avui aquí, compartir aquesta tarda de diàleg, com comentava l'Arnau. Com vam anunciar, intentarem, com que això va de diàleg, intentarem desenvolupar un diàleg. Un diàleg que serà en diferents llengües. Aleshores, la dinàmica serà, abans d'introduir el ponent, la dinàmica serà que jo formularé unes preguntes, primer les faré en català i després les faré en anglès, i el ponent d'avui, Sari Hanafi, anirà responent les preguntes en anglès, i a través d'aquesta pantalla anireu veient la traducció. La traducció no és perfecta, vull dir, és el que hem pogut aconseguir, sí? Per tant, si hi ha algú que diu això no és així, no passa res, és el que hem pogut fer. Després d'aquest diàleg en què jo aniré formulant preguntes i ell ens anirà explicant i anirem entrant en el llibre, obrirem un torn de preguntes i de comentaris amb vosaltres. Aleshores, podeu fer aquestes preguntes en català i jo les traduiré, o si algú les vol fer en anglès o en francès o en àrab, doncs les podeu fer i us anirà responent. I'm just introducing the dynamic of this event. Per tant, començaré presentant el ponent que tenim aquesta tarda, la sort de poder escoltar i de poder conèixer aquí a la Biblioteca. Sari Hanafi és professor de Sociologia, és director del Centre d'Estudis Àrabs i de l'Orient Mitjà i responsable del Programa d'Estudis Islàmics a la Universitat Americana de Beirut. Va ser president de l'Associació Internacional de Sociologia. També ha estat editor d'IDAFAT, la revista àrab de Sociologia. Ha creat recentment el portal per l'impacte social de la recerca científica en i sobre el món àrab. Va ser president també del Consell Àrab de les Ciències Socials. Ell va fer el seu doctorat a París, a l'Escola d'Estudis de Ciències Socials a París. És autor de nombrosos articles en revistes científics, també de capítols de llibre sobre la sociologia de la religió, la relació entre la filosofia moral i les ciències socials, la sociologia de la migració, especialment la migració forçada, aplicada per la seva també trajectòria en els refugiats palestins, i també sobre política de la recerca científica. Ha escrit diversos llibres i entre ells avui us venim a presentar la seva última publicació, que podeu trobar també al final de la sala, que, com veieu, titulada Contra, liberalisme simbòlic, un al·legat a favor de la sociologia dialògica. La idea, és que puguem entrar una mica en què és aquesta sociologia dialògica, quina és aquesta proposta que fa ell i que puguem dialogar amb ell sobre els reptes que té la nostra societat actual amb els reptes globals que tenim. So I have now introduced you, so now we can start with the dialogue. Thank you very much for being here. I la primera pregunta que li volia plantejar era, per començar a parlar del llibre, ell proposa un projecte liberal dialògic. que és diferent al que ell anomena liberalisme simbòlic. En el nostre context, la paraula liberal no s'entén igual que en el context anglosaxó, per exemple, i la primera pregunta que li volia fer era si pot aclarir d'una forma senzilla què entén per liberalisme simbòlic i quina és la diferència que ell planteja, per exemple, d'una persona progressista que vol justícia social. So, to begin with this dialogue and with the central idea of your book, you propose a dialogic liberal project, which is different from what you call symbolic liberalism. In our context, as you know, a liberal is not understood in the same way as, for example, in the Anglo-Saxon context. So the first question is, can you clarify in a simple way what you mean by symbolic liberalism and how is that different, for example, from a progressive person who genuinely wants social justice?
Thank you so much, Mark, and allow me first just to thank Daniel, Arnau for your kind work, Mar for organization, Marta Solar who is also with us. So thank you so much. Thank for Spain. I'm Palestinian, so I cannot tell you how much I'm touched by the singularity of the position of Spain vis-à-vis the ongoing genocide in Gaza, but also the imperial war on Iran and Lebanon. Let me start that how would we today understand world, especially in liberal democracies, shift toward the right. We look to the statistics. I mean, very rare. I mean, Spain, one of the rare that you have a leftist government. So often you have, like in France. I mean, Macron. Is everything except the left. So how would we explain this? If you look to many literature in social science, they explain by saying the problem is the populism. They lure people, they fool them, they use identity politics, to make them xenophobic, and this is why they vote for the populist right or to the right. This explanation, it has some level of truth, but it's very partial. What I'm interested in this book to show that there is something went wrong with the left and with the liberal left. So there is something really, we find it in many places in the world, that there is a problem of the left. And liberalism, what I call it symbolic liberalism. So first, liberalism, it has many facets and has many meanings. So let me clarify in which meaning. So if you like, there is a classical liberalism with the Hume, with Adam Smith, with the Rousseau, Montesquieu, and that they talk about freedom, tolerance. Stuart Mill talked about the importance of the freedom and no harm, the freedom as far as there is no harm, people can get the freedom. So you have the classical liberalism since I would say 17th century started, and it's more and more refined particularly to think how to, if you like, to balance between freedom, liberties, and equality. Because this, at certain point, they enter into tension. If you leave only freedom, all our cities will be gentrified, and middle class even will not be afford to buy houses. Okay. So this is liberal thought was interested to think about the balance between freedom and equality in a justice system which society shared with them, while leaving the conception of the good to the individual and community level. What is the conception of the good? Conception of the good is the way I would like to dress. Mara would like to drink in the evening, to their conception of the world, how she is religious, I am atheist. All this is a conception of the good. And when these conceptions of the good enter into conflict or tension, a state should not endorse any controversial conception of the good. So this is, if you like, in a nutshell, what is, if you like, political liberalism as developed by Jean Rawls, by emphasizing this, the differentiation between conception of justice and conceptions of the good. Now, the problem, there is two distortions. First distortion is that social justice, where really equality matter, is shrink so much in the thought of, I would say, social science who are interested in thinking society, but to our political parties in the left. Less and less interested in social class analysis. They are more and more interested to be cultural left, raising issue. I mean, I don't make fun on culture, Daniel. Don't worry about that. I think culture matter, but if you like, materiality also matter. So so there is this shrinking of the concept of social justice, particularly, and inflate of not human rights. Human rights matter. And I come from a country, Syria, where I grew up, where torture was a systematic torture by the state. So human rights matter. But the problem is what was inflated is the universality of human rights. It means that it become like a system imposed in all society. Not in abstract way, but in concrete way. So there is a way of understanding, for instance, sexual minority rights that should be implemented everywhere in the same way. By doing this, you deculturalize sexual relationship. And sexual relationship, like social relationship, culture matter. Okay. So in nutshell, I show this two distortions, what happened. And if you allow me, Mara, to give one example. Take the case of Muslim veil in France. So you know that actually not only the Muslim veil, you have every 2-3 months a new law just to harass Muslim community in France. I mean, veil, long dress in Ramadan, footballers have a date and drinking water to break the fasting while they are playing. So if you like, the problem that the state through its liberal elite, symbolic liberal elite, they want to impose on all the population of France as a way of dressing. So forcing unveiling in France, forcing veiling in Iran is the same thing. It's absolutely imposing a certain conception of the good in society, because the dress is by excellence is a conception of the good. So it's not only they impose a certain conception of the good, but they will package it as a conception of justice. This is why they will issue a law to ban veil in the public office, ban kids for going to school with the veil, and so on. So here where I talk about imposition of a hegemonic conception of the good, while conception of the good should be pluralistic. In nutshell, this is, if you like, where I saw a distortion, and I call this distortion moving from political liberalism to symbolic liberalism. Maybe I will give more clarity later on.
I think you have opened all the discussions we can have during this session. La segona pregunta que li volia fer era sobre la seva experiència personal, no? Perquè ella escriu des d'una posició de persona, de persona palestina que ha nascut a Síria, viu al Líban i ha tingut una experiència molt directa amb el que és la guerra, el que han estat el que és la desigualtat, i li volia preguntar fins a quin punt totes aquestes experiències li han permès o li permeten veure coses que potser des de la nostra òptica de món acadèmic europeu no podem veure, no som capaços de veure de la mateixa manera. So, the second one is based on your personal experience. I think that you are not writing this book from an abstract theory, but from a very concrete life experience. Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, and also the experience of war and inequality. So the question is, to what extent has this experience allowed you to see things that perhaps people in the European academic world do not see?
Yeah, thank you, Mark, for this very important question. Well, those who knows my writing, I am not very fan of post-colonial studies as a discourse, not as a theory. It means that I see it very important to take into account positionality. From where? What is your positionality as a Spanish woman, grow up in middle class, etc. All this is matter for your knowledge production. So I see sometimes with this discourse that create us and them. If you like, the West think like this, us we think. So it's not, if you like, the question really, this book is written with, if you like, global South or Middle Eastern experience as somebody who lived in Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan, France, but also France is very important because this is where, if you like, I work with the French Research Center for 5 years, so I am within French academia. This is, you will find many examples from France. So, but the particularity of this book that when it has been read by 12 people before it was out, including late Michael Barawi, from these 12 people, I was surprised that 9 of them, they told me nobody dared to write it if we are based in Paris, Berkeley, as Michael Barawi told me, New York, etc. Why? Because if you like, by my case studies, if you often theory, we debate theoretically, but when we bring example, here where, if you like, you need a space of a freedom of expression to name something as it is. So I have 4 case studies where at least 2 or 3 it's controversial. So one about societal polarization and academic freedom. So I show where even in liberal democracies countries now there is issue you cannot talk about it in academia. There is a case about secularism. Can we envisage secularism which is not French style secularism? And the third about gender and sexual diversity. Can we distinguish what belongs to the conception of justice and consider it universal while leave some possibility of maneuvering the conception of the good? So where in the time where everything is packaged, become like either take it or leave it. You take everything or you are homophobe or transphobe. So I showed no, this logic in any case make a major step back in many countries, including United States. You saw with Trump what happened. So there is something wrong with how we talk about sexual and gender diversity. So this is also controversial. And the last chapter was about rehoming kids and adolescents in Sweden, where you have every year around 3,500 kids taken despite the will of the family from biological families to foster family. Okay, so by the way, the ratio by inhabitant in Sweden is 10 times the France. Just to tell you, so it means that even it's not like it's not that West versus East. France doesn't rehome like Sweden. So it's an industry, if you like. So I show what the meaning on the conception of family and the relationship between state and family, and whether the family will be kids will be raised by the family despite by the state despite the family, or the collaboration between state and family, what I call in favor. So if you like, all this is, for instance, this chapter before it was out, there is a paragraph within my presidential speech in the International Sociological Association in Melbourne, and I have a petition from Swedish sociologists against my speech because of that. They didn't know that I did a thorough research. It's not just I throw it like this, and it's very interesting. If I will, this is one of the editor of the journal who published my my speech told me, it's very clear from their letter. The big message would say, what the hell, a Palestinian will give us lesson, we in the north. I mean, we in the north, we Swedish researcher, we can go to Lebanon and after 3 months we can write a PhD. But somebody from the global south to come and to give us a lesson that there is a problem of how the social service understand what is a kid's education, etc., is not acceptable. So, if you like, here where positionality matters, if you like, that I take a distance from countries with liberal democracies, and I can look to some problems that sometimes either because of censorship or self-censorship, or because of too much proximity, that they don't see how horrible some of the social phenomena.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned these different debates that you open in your book. So now we can move on one of this one. En el llibre, no, planteja, com ja acaba de comentar, planteja algunes qüestions que són difícils o que són molt polèmiques, no? De fet, el sociòleg, if you want to stop this, de fet, el sociòleg Michael Buraboy, no? a qui ell dedica el llibre, ell diu que és una persona que s'atreveix a entrar en debats que molta altra gent no s'atreveix a entrar, no? I de fet jo crec que ja ho aneu veient, que van sortint debats que en la nostra societat moltes vegades no acabem d'entrar. Per això anem a obrir un dels debats que ell planteja, que és sobre el tema de la cultura de la cancel·lació, que moltes persones progressistes avui en dia estan preocupades per aquesta cultura de la cancel·lació i també per la manca de llibertat acadèmica. I per tant la meva pregunta aquí és quan critica des d'aquest liberalisme simbòlic si està suggerint que una part de l'esquerra s'ha tornat intolerant o s'ha tornat poc respectuosa, diguéssim, amb el desacord o amb la desavinença. So, as you mentioned, you open different difficult issues in your book. As the sociologist Michael Buraboy, you mentioned and you dedicate the book, he said that you are someone who enters debates that others are often afraid to enter, so we can enter on one of these. So I would like to open one of these debates you mentioned in the book and you have mentioned now about the culture of cancellation. I think that many progressive people today are concerned about the culture of cancellation and also about the academic freedom. So, when you criticize symbolic liberalism, are you also suggesting that a part of the left has become intolerant of disagreement?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mark, for your questions. Cancel culture is a real problem, but it's not true. It's come only from the left, just to put it. And I did research on that. So both sides, in a different degree, they use cancel culture. I mean, now the chilling climate of polarization is horrible in many countries. I mean, I grew up in Syria, where I saw grow up between a family religious religious family from one side, other part of the family is a secular, and I saw how they don't talk to each other. But then I saw, especially when I traveled a lot during my tenure as a vice president of ISA and the president, and I noticed that the problem is not only in my country and or in the Arab world. And a few days ago, Isabella Berlinska, the executive secretary of ISA, who lived in Madrid in the last 30 years, she told me she feels always like a continuous civil war in Spain. I mean, between two elite formations, etc. So, in any case, so polarization is there, but what is really new that this polarization moved to the campus, and campuses, university campuses. University is supposed to make the debate reasonable. You see, I don't use the word rational. I mean, we should really absorb even different rationality. But we are here to make the debate reasonable. Unfortunately, we become part of this polarization. And so I show it in the statistics, in studying 3 countries, France, UK, and United States, where the disamputation, what we call it means that somebody supposed to give a guest lecture in a university, and you have either from students or from faculty or from administration to say, no, we don't want to hear this. So it's statistics, and only in the last 15 years. It's not an old phenomenon, where it's going up and up and up. In United States, I work on a database of 480 cancellation, or attempt of cancellation. And I look, so you have 2/3 the speaker come, if you like, those who cancel or attempt to cancel, that will come from the left of the speaker, and the 1/3 come from the right of the speaker. But what is really interesting, I look to those who are cancelled. So it's not people coming from the right wing, far right wing. If you ask me if in the campus you should allow a racist, xenophobic politicians who has a clear statement whether should be welcomed in your university, I would say no, for instance. So, but it's not because he is a far right wing, but because we have a clear, the university should have a code of conduct, who would be invited and who will not be invited, not in the basis that they are right or left. So most of those who are invited, that cancelled, they are a little bit less left from the leftist activists or students. So for instance, to give example, in my university, American University of Beirut, Holly Smith Ford, a philosopher in Melbourne University, she has a book on Oxford University Press. So she is not really activist who, she has a book called Gender Critically Feminism. So I have a colleague, philosopher, invite her to talk in my university, and I have the students send a message to administration that it should not be allowed her to talk. And the administration studied the case, and thanks God, my university, liberal university, they didn't listen to students. But and then we have a statement. Hey, and they came to disrupt the talk. And in fact, in the talk, they realized that she is really, she is not as portrayed by certain like transphobe. No, she is talking. She show where the tension between LGBT and T. It's not true that she is canceling the trans. So again, this is slowly. I approach the concept of dialogue here. Listen to her. Many of the tension come because we don't have a basic talk to each other to talk. So if you like, to finish this story of cancel culture, that in fact often cancel culture is about the tension between a right for freedom of speech and the DEI, diversity, inclusion, and equity. And I think this is, we should never take freedom of expression as a absolute. It's always, especially for the campuses. Professor Mar, you have a social responsibility. If even the way you talk about far right wing in Spain at your home, it's not like you talk in your class. You talk even if you hate them, you take a respectable way. So, but in fact, what happened that we consider that the DEI, we fix it. We don't think that there is a power structure and power struggle within DEI. Who is allowed to be included and who is not allowed to be included? I will give you one example, very recent example, about the protest against the genocide on Gaza. Look to the report produced by in the United States, in Canada, in France, that they say that free Palestine, although it's written clearly in many posters that is one man, one vote, so nobody will expel anyone, whether is Jews, whether Christian, whether Muslim. So it was a clear message. It put a minority of the students into discomfort. But how many other who are in discomfort to see graphically every day in the newspaper the mass killing of kids and women in Gaza? So this is where really, if you like, there is no problematization how human rights today come to be weaponized. What we use this concept, weaponized. It means that this concept will come to say this allowed not to be in discomfort, and those they go to hell. So here, if you like, where I see the problem, and unfortunately, symbolic liberals under power structure, under the funding of the universities, under the corruption, many factors, commodification of higher education is still what is it? And it's the least you find in Spain and in France. I mean, this phenomenon you find it in UK, in United States, and other in Australia, where donors now they constitute 90% of the board of trustees of the universities. This tycoon, this business, and they impose their agenda, what to be taught and what not to be taught, what to be searched, what not to be searched, what to be published, what not to be published.
So I think I would like to ask you the last question to open the discussion with the audience. As you mentioned, so many issues, so I think that all of them want to ask you things. Per tant, li faré l'última pregunta i així després passem al diàleg amb vosaltres. Hi ha una idea clau, no?, que ell menciona en el llibre i que és que recorre tot el llibre, que és la idea de la sociologia dialògica. No? Ell menciona que doncs, en el món tan polaritzat que vivim avui en dia, ell és partidari, no?, d'aquest diàleg entre persones que pensen molt diferent. I per tant, aquí la meva pregunta, i també per obrir, no?, també l'esperança en aquest diàleg, és de quina manera, no?, aquest diàleg entre persones que pensem molt diferent pot ser possible, i també què és el que podem fer nosaltres com a públic, com a ciutadania, per fer possible aquest diàleg. So, the last question is about what you mentioned, dialogical sociology, which is one of the key ideas that runs through the whole book. As you mentioned now, in this such a polarized world as the one we live in today, do you still believe that a real dialogue between people who think very different is possible? And what could we as an audience, as a citizens, do to make this dialogue happen?
Thank you so much for your question. First of all, my dialogical sociology is so inspired by what is going on in Catalan and in Barcelona. I mean, really, there is a school of thought on dialogical society, dialogical sociology, democratic sociology, head by Marta Solar, by Ramon Fleischer, and all their team. I mean, it's amazing how many researchers I found, Mar among them, Lena Louboutin, and other. It's I'm learning a lot from this school of thought. First, but let me go a little bit back and going to your first question, Mark. What is liberalism? I mean, I think if we understand liberalism as a thin theory, so it's a balance between freedom and equality plus pluralism. If we take it like this, it will function only if we disentangle it from progressism, to be progressive. Liberal values should allow society to function even if we are conservative, even if we are religious, even if we are atheist, libertarian, anarchic. So this is, and here where I notice that whether in social science, but in sociology and social science, we often conflate two levels which should be disentangled. First level, we provide knowledge for everyone. Civil society is not homogeneous. We should admit. I mean, often we talk about civil society like homogeneous, and because we trained as a sociologist, as a progressist, we go to the progressist side of the civil society. But civil society is pluralistic. I mean, I can tell you in Lebanon now the major effort of helping almost 1 million displaced Lebanese in this war. Many of these organizations are Christian, Muslim organizations. Caritas, Islamic Relief, etc. So this is also part of civil society. So we need first to talk with everyone. So this is what I call the level of mediation. So once we talk about everyone, we describe the situation, we work with them to talk like Marta Solar, I mean this interactive methodology, this and then in the second level is where you have a strong normativity. You want to make a strong statement in favor of marginalized group, whether this marginalized group are refugees, are sexual minority group, LGBTQ. This is we have a commitment toward all these marginalized people, but we cannot jump to this strong normativity without, if you like, work this talk with everyone. We cannot start by saying no democracy for the enemy of democracy, where you define some people like that right-wing people, I don't know, fascists, etc. And let's learn from the work of Arlie Hochschild. It's an American sociologist, a stranger in their own land. He has a book called like this, showing us that, in fact, Tea Party, she worked on Tea Party supporter, which those who later on voted for Trump, show us that some of their claim is a socialist claim. It's a and some of their claim is identitarian claim, where it raises some problem. But you need to talk with them about some issues and not to smash them that racist, etc. So I think the dialogical sociology is a sociology which take social justice first matter, the primacy of justice over the good. So if you like, the primacy of the materiality over the culture, and this kind of division of two levels of engaging with society.
Thank you very much, Sari.